one, then you take out that pot and put a new pot.
Okay, we are live for Game 5. Clippers are up 40-30. Here's Patrick Beverley. Finds Paul George. And there's Boogie Cousins inside. Lays it up and in. DeMarcus Cousins, coming off the bench, has had a huge impact so far in this game. As you see, Chris Paul, who's come back in, gives it up to Cameron Payne. Payne, runner's blocked. Here's Kennard, passes out. Paul George lays it up and great defensive play resulting in offense for the Clippers right there, and the lead is back up to 14. Paul George. And there is a nice floater down there. That's a nice play there by Cameron Payne. 44-32. Clippers on top here in the second quarter of Game 5 of the Western Finals. As here's Cousins, corner three-pointer. That's way off. And there's a rebound there, and here's Chris Paul. Paul George is a solid 5 points so far. As here's Chris Paul getting to a spot, mid-range jumper. You count it. And one. CP3 with a potential three-point play here. Got fouled on the pass. Got fouled on the shot, and he nails it, plus the foul. This is Chris Paul's go-to shot. Big moments for Chris Paul here. And that's a big foul there on Cousins. And you count it. CP3 gets it to go. That was a really nice play there. Chris Paul, that was his 6th point of the game so far already. Leading scorer for the Suns is Devin Booker. He's had a hot start. Already 11 points for Booker. Clippers are really shooting lights out to start this game. And that's really what propelled them to an early 15-point lead. Cut down to 9. Chris Paul makes a free throw. He has 7. The Clippers have been shooting lights out early on. 63% from the field, which is why they were winning that first quarter by 10. They had a 15-point lead, and here's Kennard checking in. Kennard with a fake off glass. That won't go. Nice rebound here by Cameron Payne. Cameron Payne off the bench are DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, and Sarge as he stepped out of bounds there. And that is a turnover. Clippers up by 9, 44-35. As here is Paul George finds Kennard, kicks it out. Beverley, corner three-pointer, won't go. Booker gets a rebound. Clippers up by 9, 8:30 to go here in the second quarter. As here's Cam Johnson on the drive. Finds Sarge, lays it up. Ayton off glass. Tippin is good. DeAndre Ayton who gets the putback to go there for Ayton. That's a nice job. DeAndre Ayton has had a really breakout postseason. That's a nice play by him. Gets a block. Paul George gets it back. Ayton has only 4 points as we have a foul there on the floor. So it's going to be for Paul George. It's going to be on Chris Paul. That's his first. As the foul is right here in the corner, right there. Chris Paul gets him there. 8 minutes to go here in this second quarter. It's not a shooting foul, so Kennard is going to be inbounding it here. As you see, Ty Lue motioning. Got 8 minutes left. The Clippers had a hot start. They've been holding on to the lead ever since. They haven't given it up yet. But Phoenix here at home for Game 5 has a chance to close it out here and move to the finals. Paul George with a nice kick. Ball movement. Beverley, a three-pointer. Won't go in and out. Booker gets the board. Suns have a chance to win it here on their home floor for Game 5 and head to their first finals in 28 years. It would be some kind of story here for the Suns. As Booker on the drive lays it up too strong, but he is fouled. And it was fouled by Kennard. Booker wearing his mask today. As you remember, in Game 2, he had a broken nose. Take a look at Booker on the drive, fouled by Beverley at that moment, and he takes a tumble. But he's going to head to the line. Booker trying to make this a 5-point game. Hits the first one, Devin Booker. He has now 12 in the game. Take a look at the crowd here in Talking Stick Resort Arena. It's a packed house there for Game 5 of Sanch. To see their team move on to the finals for the first time in almost 30 years. As Booker hits both shots there. Booker now has 13. Booker has been shooting 92% from the free throw line in the postseason as he makes both of them. As here's Paul George. On the drive, kicks it out. Terrence Mann, who's in the starting lineup, his three. Too strong. Aiden grabs the rebound. And here's Booker. Booker finds Mikal Bridges. Nice cross-court pass. Campaign in the corner. Cam Johnson nails the three-pointer. How about that? Nice pass there. And that calls for a timeout, Clippers. 44-42. Clippers on top. This lead has dropped dramatically. 7 minutes to go here. It's a 2-point game all of a sudden. Nice shots there, as you say. Mikal Bridges cross-court pass to Cam Johnson. And a three-pointer goes down the switch. And it is a tight ball game here. 44-42. 7 to go here in this first half. Cam Johnson has a very good 6 points off that bench for the Suns right now. Very important. He's made 2 big three-pointers. Cam Johnson. The Suns are really shooting good from 3. They're having a really good game. They're shooting 50% from three-point land. 6 out of 12 are the Suns from 3. So far in today's game. They've been shooting really bad earlier on in the series from 3, but now they're shooting really good here, and a chance to go to the NBA Finals for Game 5. Up 3-1. Kawhi Leonard hasn't played a single game yet, and it might be the end for the Clippers here, but we'll see what happens. The Clippers got off to a really hot start. They were up 18-5 at one point. It was a 15-point lead as well. And then they cooled off. It was a hot start to try and quiet the crowd, but after that, the Suns came right back into it due to their 3-point shooting and Devin Booker's hot start. He has 13 points through 1.5 here. For the Clippers, it was really Marcus Morris who started it off tonight. He had a hot, really hot 11 points. He has now 13 in the game. He hit 6 field goals, and that was really those mid-range fadeaway jumpers which he kept hitting over and over. It was really incredible. But the Suns have come back in. Booker and their 3-point shooting, Cam Johnson off the bench. It's going to be a very close finish here in Game 5. This is last game for the Clippers here, probably. They know they're the huge underdogs. And they're playing really with no fear of the moment, just playing their hearts out right now, the Clippers. Pretty much they're acting like there's nothing to lose here. They're not expected to win, right? So they're just trying to play freely, and that's really helped them so far. And talking about Chris Paul, he has a chance to go to his first NBA Finals. Chris Paul, the last time he had a chance to do that was with the Houston Rockets, when the Rockets were up 3-2 over the Warriors in 2018 playoffs. Chris Paul ended up hurting his hamstring, and that's what cost him that trip. But here he has a really good chance, down by 2, 44-42. Chris Paul has 7 points and 4 assists so far. And it's been a pretty quiet half from DeAndre Ayton from so far. He only has 4 points as we come back from the commercial break. Take a look at the leading scorers. It's Marcus Morris and Reggie Jackson. Morris has 13, Jackson has 12. As Paul George finds Cousins. And here's George on the drive. George! And that's a nice runner there. That's a good shot. Paul George. Really smooth. Paul George, arguably the smoothest player in this league, makes that shot there. As Chris Paul finds Booker, and Booker lost it, but it's still Suns ball. Last touch by DeMarcus Cousins. As take a look back to Paul George on the drive there. Fights through contact against Booker, doesn't matter. Too big and physical as Paul George. He's got to have a big game. As Chris Paul is inbounding here. Gives it to Ayton, being guarded by Cousins. Ayton finds Chris Paul. He's being guarded by Jackson. Chris Paul switches on to Cousins. A better matchup. Shot clock is down to 3. Down to 2. Chris Paul takes stop. That's a tough shot, and that's an air ball. Nice play. Offensive rebound there. Cam Johnson. Johnson, a three-pointer. Too strong. They're complaining for a 24-second violation. It looked to be a 24-second violation earlier on. I'm surprised they didn't call it. I'm a little bit interested there as the officials are gathering. It's 46-42 Clippers. Six and a half to go here. As you go back here, as Ayton tips it out, was he out of bounds? Is that what they're reviewing? It's really a tight play here, as that touched the net, but they're not ruling it at 24-second as it hit. But there's Terrence Mann. He gets a steal. Finds Morris. That was a complicated event over there, but we got that fixed out. And here's Paul George. George with the crossover. George, step back mid-range. Yes. Paul George, he's shooting well right now. Lead is back up to 6. Paul George now has 9 points in the game. Slowly creeping up. Like I said, the Clippers are shooting lights out from the field, 60%. Chris Paul, mid-range jumper. Yes, sir. Chris Paul. That's as smooth as ever. That's his go-to. 48-44. Clippers. Under 6 to go. Reggie Jackson finds Morris. Here is Morris. In the post. Guarded by Cam Johnson. Morris. Tough mid-range. Fall away. Yep. That is good. Marcus Morris Sr. What a hot start. And he's continued that. Morris without 15 points. The leading score for the Clippers. As it's 50-44 Clippers. As here's Chris Paul being guarded by Terrence Mann, who's in the starting lineup for Zubac, who's out. Nice backdoor cut. Mikal Bridges can't lay it up, though. Paul George throws it ahead. Here's Mann, Euro. And tries to find Morris. He does. Here's Kennard. Kennard, top of the key three-pointer. Too strong. Ayton grabs the rebound. 50-44 Clippers on top. Under 5 now. And here's Booker. Being guarded by Morris. Booker on the drive. Booker. Jumper, short. Jackson on the rebound. And he finds George. Jackson has a solid 12 points so far in this game. As he attacks, finds Terrence Mann outside. Back out to George. George, three-pointer straight away, too strong. Chris Paul with a rebound. 50-44 Clippers. Here's Booker, a three-pointer. He's hot. He continues it from downtown. Devin Booker. Oh, yes, he's going from downtown right now, Booker. Yeah, he's feeling it. Lead is down to 3, 50-47. As Booker now has 16 points, he's 3 out of 3 from downtown. It's a really good start for him. As Jackson catches a tough pass from George. Guarded by Cam Johnson, shot clock is down to 3. Jackson. So moves Jackson to the crossover with a floater off glass. Yeah. Reggie Jackson. The shot clock expiring as we have a timeout here. 52-47. Phoenix calls timeout here. Look at Reggie Jackson. That's a floater off glass, and he banks it home with zeros on the shot clock. Clippers fighting hard right now. Yep, the Clippers continuously have answered every single run that the Suns have done. And that's why they're leading by 5 right now. They've answered every single run. Currently a commercial break going on. As we are back from the commercial break, Clippers up by 5, 52-47. If you didn't hear in the recent NBA news, Chauncey Billups, currently an assistant for the Clippers, just been hired as head coach for the Portland Trail Blazers. And Damian Lillard had something to say about that. He wasn't too happy. I think Damian Lillard may want to leave Portland. He's had many opportunities, just never has gotten the help he needs over there in Portland. Trying to move on, trying to win his first NBA title. As here's Booker feeling himself. Booker sidestep, two-pointer, short. Booker's really been feeling himself from 3, though. Not making the 2s. As George finds Morris. Morris in the post, once again being guarded by Crowder as Jules checked in. Look at that, Morris spin around. That's off the side of the backboard, way off. And here's Phoenix down by 5, 52-47. 3 to go here in the second. Cameron Payne finds Crowder, gives it to Aiden inside. Aiden, jump shot! Oh, yeah, you bet. DeAndre Aiden's jump shot is good. And it brings it back to 3, 52-49. Approaching 3 to go here in the second. Reggie Jackson finds Paul George. As here's Morris, sets the screen. Morris inside. Goes around Aiden. Finds Man in the corner. Man on the drive. Shot clock is down to 2. Man takes a tough 3-pointer over Aiden. Too strong. And there's a nice rebound. Mikal Bridges. Suns trying to tie it up here. As Booker on the drive. Booker kicks it out. Crowder, 3-pointer. Fouled. Should have been fouled. As 2:36 is left here in the second quarter. Suns down by 3 in Game 5. Suns have a chance to move on as Nick Batum is checked in for the Clippers for the first time. Paul George on the inbound here. Booker once again wearing his mask because of that broken nose. As we have 2:30 to go here in the second quarter. Paul George on the drive, guarded by Booker. George, he lays it up and in off glass. And the lead goes back up to 5. Like I said, every time the Suns score, the Clippers answer right back, which is why they still have a 5-point lead. As it's back to Cameron Payne. Cameron Payne on the drive, high off glass. Aiden tries to get it. He can't. George with another rebound. Up ahead to Jackson. Jackson with some moves. Finds Batum. Gives it back to George. George being guarded by Payne. Payne playing some good defense, and that's a foul on Cameron Payne. They're going to wave off the shot as Cameron Payne is called for a foul there. Cameron Payne trying to chip in from the bench this time. He was in the starting lineup while Chris Paul was out. Payne with 5 points. And he picks up his first foul. As Batum inbounds to Jackson. Here is Jackson. Finds George. Nice play by Cameron Payne. He's doing some good defense. Jackson, tough 3-pointer. Too strong. Aiden grabs another rebound. Up ahead to Cameron Payne, who's in for Chris Paul right now. As you have Payne and Booker in the backcourt with Bridges, Ayton, and Crowder. And here's Payne being guarded by Morris. Way too high for Bridges in that corner. Bad pass, and that's a turnover. 54-49. 49 Clippers on top. As Chris Paul is checked back into the game, CP3, as he hears the crowd ovation. As we are approaching halftime here. Minute 20 to go here in the second quarter. As we have Reggie Jackson. Finds Morris. Morris open for 3. Tries it. Nails it. Marcus Morris Sr. has continued his hot streak. And he has now 18 points. How about Marcus Morris in this first half? Really igniting it for the Clippers so far. Making a statement here in Phoenix. As you have Mikal Bridges. Gives it out to Chris Paul. Chris Paul, 3-pointer. Won't go. And Batum gets the rebound. Jackson up ahead. Morris tough fall away. Oh, they're going to wave it off. As that was an and one by Marcus Morris Sr., actually. That was a great play by Morris. Really was. And he's going to try and get 20 points in this first half, Morris. His first free throws of the game. 18 points in 19 minutes for Morris. Makes that one. Leads up to 9 now. Trying to make it 10 for the Clippers. As you have 41.8 seconds left in the second quarter. And that's 20 points for Morris Sr. and the lead is 10. 59-49 Clippers. Suns trying to go for a 2-for-1 here. As here's Chris Paul on the drive. Chris Paul finds Booker. Booker's open for 3. Won't stay perfect that time. Gets a miss. That's Booker's first miss from 3. As you have a 3-second difference between shot clock and game clock here. It's going to be the last possession for the Clippers of this first half. Trying to keep their season alive here. Down 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals without Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi hasn't played a single game yet. As shot clock is down to 2. Jackson being guarded by Booker. Jackson, he loses it, and that's a 24-second violation. It is Suns' ball for the last 3.1 here in this first half. Clippers up by 10, 59-49. Yes, Chris Paul is going to be inbounding it here. Trying to find an outlet here with 3.1 left. Throws it across. Aiden finds Booker. Booker, three-pointer before halftime. Yep! Oh, yes, sir! Devin Booker hits a three-pointer as we go to halftime here. That was a buzzer beater. Devin Booker nails it. Oh, he's 4 out of 5 from 3. This was a great play by Chris Paul and the Suns. Beautiful pass finds Aiden and Booker on the run. Booker hits it right before half, and he's way open right there. Great play design. That's excellent. As Chris Paul found Ayton, and Ayton tosses it to Booker. Booker stops at 3-point line, gets a fake, and hits the open 3 ball. Devin Booker makes it a 7-point game at the half, 59-52. 59-52 Clippers at the half. As that is halftime here in Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. Clippers up by 7, 59-52. Devin Booker with a late 3 ball on an open shot there to end the half on a buzzer beater to make it a 7-point game. Booker is now the leading scorer for the Phoenix Suns. He has 19 points. Booker has really played extremely well so far in this first half compared to very mediocre games 3 and 4. And Chris Paul also has 9 points and 5 assists so far for CP3. As his team is down by 7 here, have a chance to go to the NBA Finals for the first time, Chris Paul. And the Suns, after 28 years, that's what they're trying to do here in Phoenix. Trying to reach the finals after 28 years. That's really something here, and they have a good shot here. Down by 7 at the half, though. The Clippers are fighting for their lives right now, and they're doing a good job of it so far. And we'll see. Talk a little bit about the half in a minute. Halftime report upcoming soon. Be sure to hit the like if you haven't already. Be sure to hit that like button. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I mean, Marcus Morris has really taken over. He has 20 points as the leading scorer of this first half here with 20 points, 8 out of 10 from the field, good for 80%, 2 out of 3 from 3, and 2 out of 2 from the free throw line. He's hitting it from all 3 levels and is playing really elite offensively right now, giving the Clippers that 7-point lead. As we are here at halftime between the Clippers and Suns in Game 5, Clippers win or go home tonight. The Suns trying to reach the finals for the first time in 28 years, as the Suns are up 3-1 here. At halftime, the Clippers are up by 7, 59-52. Marcus Morris is leading the way for this Clipper team with 20 points, 8 out of 10 from the field, 2 out of 3 from downtown. Really taking control right now. And that's why the Clippers have this 7-point lead due to Marcus Morris's hot start in the mid-range and then shooting from 3. Reggie Jackson also has a solid 14 points, 2 out of 4 from 3, 5 out of 9 from the field for Reggie Jackson. Paul George has 11 points as well in this game. He turned it on late in that second quarter. And then for the Suns, it's been all Devin Booker. He has 19 points, a leading scorer for them. Shot 5 out of 5 from the free throw line, 4 out of 5 from 3. Really kept the Suns in this game right now. They're not really shooting too great from the field, but they're shooting lights out from three-point land. 47% from 3, 8 out of 17 from that point. And overall, they're shooting 44% from the field, but the Clippers shooting 56% from the field. Only 25% from 3, though. Rebounds are pretty similar for both teams. And turnovers, the Suns have had 7 turnovers in this game so far. Only 3 for the Clippers, which is why the Clippers jumped out to a lead. But the Suns came back due to that hot three-point shooting, and they've got to continue that in that second half to keep chase and keep themselves in that game because they're down by 7. And then for the Suns, they've got to get control over Morris Sr. Marcus Morris has really taken over the game. They've got to get control over him. Got a double, box and one, something. I mean, you have to do something to stop Morris. And then otherwise, the Suns are doing a good job defensively. Got to keep up that intensity for that second half. Got to keep that three-point shooting up. You cannot turn the ball over if you're the Suns here. And for the Clippers, you've got to improve that three-point percentage. You got to start knocking down some of those threes and keep Morris hot. Try and get Paul George involved more. Maybe try and get Terrence Mann a little bit of life here. Maybe give DeMarcus Cousins a few more playing minutes because, he scored 10 points in 6 minutes. So the Clippers are doing solid otherwise. They gotta improve defensively from 3-point land. They kind of messed up late in that second quarter. They gotta continue that defensive intensity led by Patrick Beverly. And they have to keep this lead going throughout the game. That's how the Clippers will keep their season alive if they have to. But we're at half. Clippers up by 7, 59-52. Clippers won that first quarter 36-26 plus 10. The Suns came back and won that second quarter 26-23. We know the story on Chris Paul. He has to get to the finals this year. This is his chance to do it. I mean, he's up 3-1, 1 game away. You're 1/2 away. You're down by 7. Let's see what CP3 can come up with here. The only reason Phoenix is in this game is because of their great 3-point shooting and then the Clippers shooting really bad. I think if the Clippers are going to gain more control, they got to start hitting those 3-pointers. Try and get Paul George, get a shot, and I think Terrence Mann is going to be a big key in the second half. And then for the Suns, can Chris Paul turn it on? Chris Paul in these elimination games can go to the next level. We'll see if he'll be that closer today. But it's going to be an interesting second half. I mean, the Suns, they're down by 7. Are they going to end it in Game 5 tonight? Or are we going to see Game 6 on Wednesday in Staples? So be sure to stick around and find out. I hope you guys are enjoying the play-by-play. If you are, be sure to hit that like button. And if you're interested, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I've got you covered for all NBA games, live reaction, analysis, play-by-play, predictions, previews. And it's going to be upcoming for the NBA Finals next week. So be sure to do those things while we're still at half because it's going to be a great second half. Can't miss. Can't miss second half. And tomorrow, if you're wondering what game is there tomorrow, it's going to be Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Hawks and the Bucks. Trae Young is currently questionable for that game with an ankle injury. Trae Young injured that yesterday, where he stepped on the ref's foot, tweaked it a little bit, didn't play good in that fourth quarter, and then the Bucks ran away with it. Chris Middleton turned it on, and the Bucks are currently up in that series 2-1. But let's see if Phoenix can step up their game here and try to end it here in Game 5. Because honestly, this is their best chance to do it. They just have to end it today. If you're the Suns, you got to end it today. So currently halftime going on. Should be resuming shortly. So be sure to stick around, guys. It's going to be great. The Suns have had all momentum going into this game 5. It's kind of surprising the Clippers turned it around here in that first quarter. I mean, they took the crowd immediately out of it with that early run. I mean, every time the Clippers have been doubted, they really show up. Like in that game 3. Every time they're down 2-0, they show up. Every time they're doubted, they show up. So we'll see if the Clippers can do it now. As we are back for Game 5 of the Western Finals. Ty Lue wired. Ty Lue has been such a great coach for this Clippers team. So much better, has really made the necessary adjustments that Doc Rivers wasn't willing to do last year in the bubble for those West semis. Take a look at Monty Williams. He's been amazing. Such a great play designer for the Suns team. So great. Big reason why the Suns are in this position right now. Take a look at Morris. He's been injured throughout this series. The rest of the series combined, he scored 25 points. He scored 20 tonight. He's really stepped it up when his team needed him the most here. And we're back here for the second half. It's going to be great. I'm your host, Manav, for the second half. Hope you guys enjoyed the play-by-play. As Morris has done extremely well, we'll hope to continue it here. Clippers will have the ball to start the second half. As you're underway here, in the second half, Clippers up by 7. 59-52. Jackson with the ball finds Terrence Mann. Gives it back to Paul George. George kicks it back out. Morris going to take a 3. Morris rattles in and out. George tries to get it. He can't. Ayton grabs the rebound. And here's Chris Paul. Both starting lineups in the game so far. As Chris Paul tries to give it to Ayton, but he's fouled by Reggie Jackson. Ayton trying to gather himself there. Took a rough hit. As Booker gives it to Chris Paul. Booker, Paul, Ayton, Crowder, and Bridges, the starting lineup for the Suns. Chris Paul navigates, goes off glass, and he banks it in. CP3 scores to open this second half. Chris Paul. He has now 11 points, is in double digits as Terrence Mann has it. Pulls it back out. Tries to find George, can't, being guarded by Bridges. Here's Mann. Mann with the crossover, Mann with the drive. Tough. That is an air ball. Tough shot, fadeaway, won't go. And Ayton grabs it. And here's Chris Paul. Paul with 11. And 5 assists. As he gives it to Mikal Bridges. Back out to Paul. Finds Crowder. Crowder going to try spot up 3-pointer, too strong. And Aiden comes up with the offensive rebound. That's a great job there. Extra possession from the Suns as Paul gives it to Bridges in the corner. Bridges, jumper, you bet. Mikal Bridges nails that one, and it's a 3-point game, 59-56. Clippers now. As we're just underway here in the second half, as here's Paul George being guarded by Booker. George, smooth steps. George high off glass, one go. And there's Crowder, Jay Crowder. Not really having too great of a start. Crowder has 2 points, as that's a 3-pointer. Bridges in and out. And here's Jackson. Crowder really trying to do his thing defensively. Hasn't shot well from 3 so far. As here's George. George on the drive. George lays it up and in. Nice move there by Paul George. Every time, the Clippers have an answer. Back up to 5 is the lead. As Beverly trying to get up in Booker's face here. Aiden tries to set the screen. Booker goes up against Morris here. Booker on the drive. Pulls back. Mid-range jumper! Devin Booker. He has 21 points now. Into the 20s for Booker. Putting on a scoring performance so far and a must-win. As Booker falls down, Morris ends up with it. Morris in the post again. Morris on a drive. Kicks it out. Here's Mann in the corner. Mann with the crossover jumper. Off target. And here's Crowder. Suns wearing the black in the Valley jerseys. Clippers are on white. As Crowder tries to find Aiden. Crowder puts it back and in. Jake Crowder with a floater, and it's 1-point game all of a sudden. It is 61-60 Clippers. And the Suns have come out with intensity here. The Suns on an 8-2 run to open up this second half. And it's a 1-point game here in the third quarter. Suns pulling it back here. We have a timeout on the floor. Go. Go. And we're back here. Take a look at that. The Suns radio broadcaster since 1972. And he has a chance here to see his Suns try and make the NBA Finals for the second time in franchise history. As we're under 9 here in this third quarter. Jackson, Beverly, Batum, Morris, and George in the game. As Jackson on the drive, and he lost it. Jackson with a turnover here. And it's Phoenix ball. They have a chance to take the lead here. Phoenix has a chance to take their first lead of the game. They've never led the entire way so far. And here's Chris Paul, Booker, Ayton, Crowder, and Bridges in for the game. All starters so far except for Batum. Chris Paul, mid-range jumper! And the Suns have taken the lead for the first time tonight. 62-61 Phoenix by the Chris Paul mid-range jumper. Eight 2 run by the Suns to open up here as George on the floater. Gets the roll and one. Book it. Chris, look at that. PG 13. Counted in one from Paul George. Suns Clippers have the lead right back. There's the foul on Crowder right there. And Paul George counts it. As here's George, he has 15 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Really struggled from the free throw line. Hits that one there. And it's 64-62 Clippers. Eight minutes to go here in this third. Here's Chris Paul, finds the screen. Another jumper. That time it's short in the mid-range. Batum ends up with the board. And here's Jackson. Jackson being guarded by Booker. Jackson, crossover. Morris. George kicks out Batum. Back to Morris. Morris, a three-pointer. Off the mark. Ayton grabs the rebound and gives it to Booker. Here's Booker. Booker on the drive. Booker. And he can't lay it up that time. Jackson with the rebound. Jackson drives past Bridges. Jackson lays it up, but he's fouled. Reggie Jackson to the line for 2 free throws. Reggie Jackson now has 14 points in this game, has a chance to make it 16. As here's Jackson at the line. He's been shooting lights out. He misses that first one. Reggie Jackson misses a free throw there. Is Zubac. Zubac was the center for the series. He's been out with an injury today. Jackson is generally a good free throw shooter. He's been doing really good in this postseason. In the playoffs, Jackson, he's been shooting 88% from the free throw line in these playoffs. Hits that one there. And the lead is up to 3 now for the Clippers, 65-62. As the 2 guards, as Crowder throws it away. What a bad job there by Jay Crowder. Nobody was there. It was a miscommunication right there. 8 turnovers now for the Suns, really costing them right now as they're down by 3 only, though. As Clippers have feasted 12 points off those 8 turnovers. And here's George on the drive. George, step back. Mid-range jumper is true. Paul George heating up here. Heated up late in that second quarter's continued here in the third. As here's Paul. Paul pulls it back. Finds Bridges. Here is Booker in the corner. Can't get it. The lead is up to 5 now. 65, 67, 62. As there's the layup is good. Patrick Beverly. And it's back up to 9 now. 69-62 Clippers. And that's an offensive foul there. It's an offensive foul on Booker as he hits the ground hard there, takes off his mask. It's a 7-point lead for the Clippers. Booker being roughed up here. Booker on the drive and doesn't get the call. He actually does get. That was a great job there by Paul George playing defense. And the lead is still 7 for the Clippers, 69-62. Halfway to go here in this third quarter. Here's George. George fakes. George in the post, drives. Won't get the roll, but he's fouled. George is going to go to the line for 2 more free throws. George being physical inside, being guarded by Bridges, but he lays it up and in. George trying to go 2 for 2 here. Gets that first one. Paul George looking smooth so far with his free throw shooting. Let's hope I didn't jinx him. Paul George is now 19 points. George is only shooting 80% from the free throw line versus the Suns. So it's not really the best thing for him right now. But here's Chris Paul. The lead is balloon. Whoa! Chris Paul takes an extreme tumble. Oh, man, and he's hurt. Chris Paul is grabbing his groin right there. Man. It's Patrick Beverley with another really bad play there. Chris Paul is on the ground right now, and he gets up. Looks like Chris Paul's back. He's ready to go here. He took a slight tumble there. Kind of a big hit there from Beverley. Beverley goes... look at Chris Paul. He landed directly on that shoe of Beverley. I don't think Beverley did much. Beverley didn't do much. Paul is just trying to draw the foul, but he lands really hard on that shoe, and that must have injured his groin kind of badly there. I agree. Patrick Beverley's right. Chris Paul kind of flopped there. He was trying to get it up into the air. Yeah, look at that. Chris Paul is trying to get up into the air, and then he lands on the shoe. What can you do, man? I don't think it's necessarily Beverley doing anything wrong. It's just Chris Paul trying to draw the foul, and then it's just unfortunate that he had to land on his shoe there, Chris Paul. Look what he does. Look at that. Look at that. Paul has literally jumped into the air. Chris Paul literally just jumped into the air for no reason. Just trying to draw that foul. Right, and then Beverley is underneath him, and then Paul just lands really hard on that shoe. And that's what happened. Beverley shouldn't be called here for anything, honestly. He should probably be called for the foul because Chris Paul drew it on him. But it's not anything other worse than that. That's just Chris Paul being Chris Paul. Just trying to draw the foul there. It's 71-62 Clippers so far. The Suns came back. They took the lead. It was crazy. It was 62-61 Suns. And then the Clippers just went on a crazy run. Clippers are on a 10-0 run right now, which is why they're in this position. My call here is just a regular foul on Patrick Beverley. I don't know. What do you want Patrick Beverley to do? Move his shoe out at the last minute? He didn't know. And so it's a 3-shot foul for Chris Paul. Chris Paul's going to take 3 shots here because he drew the foul on a 3-point attempt. So Chris Paul heading to the line for 3 free throws here. Chris Paul with 13 points so far, 6 assists. Chris Paul's been shooting 91% from the free throw line in the playoffs. So he has 3 attempts here. tries to make it a 6-point game. And he gets that one to go. Second one is good too. Third one is good as well. And it's a 6-point game now, 71-65. And now it's also possession for the Suns here. It was not unnecessary contact, but they gave Suns 3 shots and the ball. As here's Bridges finds Chris Paul, once again being guarded by Beverly. Aiden sets the screen. Throws it up. Aiden throws it down. Not an alley-oop, but he lays it up and in. DeAndre Aiden puts up a floater in. And it's now 71-67. Clippers. A nice mini 5-0 run there by the Suns. As Paul George finds Batum, who finds Morris. Morris with a spin. Morris, tough jumper. Nails it. Marcus Morris continues an outstanding game. As we have 5 minutes to go here in this third. Chris Paul trying to take over here, being guarded by Beverly. Finds Ayton inside. Aiden's floater won't go. Morris has just been outstanding. Has really put this team on his back here at 22 points. As George, insane step back 3! Oh! PG! Got to clean up here on aisle 3. Paul George puts Chris Paul on the ground there as Chris Paul tries to answer right back. As we have Devin Booker here. Booker on the drive. Booker speeding past. Booker draws the foul. Draws it on Morris. With a shot clock at 5. The lead is still 9 for this Clippers team. I mean, that was an insane step back there from Paul George. Putting Chris Paul in the popcorn machine. Literally. Insane step back. Booker misses the first one. Wow. I mean, if you take a look at the lead, I mean, it's now 9 for this Clippers team. They've continuously fought back. Every time the Suns make a run, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Paul George is 23. Morris is 22. That's a solid duo right there. Booker misses both free throws. Wow. Devin Booker misses both free throws at that trip to the line. Here's George. George, another 3-pointer! Paul George! It's a 3-ball. He's on fire. Paul George on flames from 3-point land now. It's an 8-0 run for the Clippers. Cam Johnson wide open. 3! Hits it. Cam Johnson must have needed 3-pointer. There's the lead, went up to 12. Back down to 9. 79-70. Here's George. George really feeling it. Finds Beverly. Beverly open for 3. And that one goes down. Clippers heating up. 3-point line. Look out. Clippers from downtown. They're on flames right now from that point. It's 82-70. 82-70 Clippers. They're hitting their shots from 3-point land all of a sudden. Beverly feeds off the energy, and he's done that again. Look at the Clippers. They keep fighting, man. It's unbelievable. Paul George now has 26 points in the game, 2 out of 4 from 3, 10 out of 14 from the field. Morris has 22 points. And for the Suns, it's been that backcourt. Booker with 21. Only 2 points so far here in the second half. And Chris Paul has 16 points now. Backcourts are doing a really good job right now. that it's been the two forwards here for the Clippers who have 26 and 22, Paul George and Marcus Morris, and then the guards for the Suns, 21 and 16 for Booker and Paul. Currently at a commercial break, under 4 to go here in this third quarter.
I love my son, and I never stop loving him. But for an entire year, he can't be bothered to show his face. And then he shows up on drugs with excuses and lies. Nothing's changed. It's different now. He went through something life-changing. Yeah, I heard it. Of being in a cave, dying, coming back to life, a crude slave. He's an addict. An addict will tell you whatever you want to hear. I know that sounds crazy, but it is true. I know.
Hope you're enjoying the stream. Be sure to hit the like. Let me know who you got. I think the Suns are going to make a comeback here. I think the Clippers are going to hold on and force a game 6.
Like 8:48, like I said, it was crazy. But he wasn't on the planet as much as I hear him. Not anymore. I sent him away.
As we're back from the break, Cameron Payne is checked in for the Suns in place of Chris Paul. Payne finds Crowder. Crowder back. Aiden's jump shot is good. DeAndre Ayton makes it a 10-point game, 82-72. Clippers still shooting a high clip from the field, 57%. Lead is 10. Phoenix with 9 turnovers really cost them here. It's Morris with 22, trying to make it more. Morris on the drive. Morris lays it up. Floater won't go. Ayton grabs the rebound. Payne up ahead. Booker. As here's Cam Johnson. Johnson on drive. He lays it up and in. 4 quick points here for the Suns to open up after the timeout. And it's back to 8. It's 3 minutes to go here in this third. Here's Paul George. Finds Batum. Morris. Beverly. 3-pointer again. Won't go. And there's a rebound there by Booker. Here come the Suns. Booker driving fast. Booker to the hoop. Booker tries to throw down. Can't. But there's a foul. Booker's going to head to the line for 2 free throws here. He missed 2 on his way last time. Booker, 5 out of 7 from the free throw line. He's shooting around 92% from the free throw line. It's kind of surprising he missed both in his last trip. Let's see if he can do it this time. Cam Johnson, he's been incredible. Cam Johnson, man, so important off that bench. He now has 11 points, 3 out of 3 from three-point land. He averages about 8 points per game in this postseason, 10 points per game during the regular season, 35% from 3 in the regular season, 42% from 3 in the postseason. And he's a good shooter. As Booker hits that first free throw. And he makes both that time. Good trip to the line that time for Booker. 82-76. Clippers. 6-0 run here from the Suns. 2:35 left in this fourth. Paul George step back 3. Oh, PG! Man! Paul George. He has turned on. And Booker turns it over. That's the 10th for the Suns. As George on the drive. Can't kick it out. That's a turnover again. Here's Paul George. Booker all the way. Booker can't lay it up. But he's fouled again. Phoenix is in the bonus for this final 2-11. It's 84-76 Clippers. Paul George is putting on a show right now. An absolute clinic from the step back shots. George. Man. Paul George. George is now 28 points. 11 out of 15 from the field. As Booker makes that first shot, Batum's going to check back in for the Clippers. As you have Nader in the game for the Suns. Booker with 24 makes it 25. It's 84-78. 6-point game here. Phoenix in the bonus for this final 2 minutes. As you have a quick foul there, and it's going to going back the other way. It's a foul on the Clippers, and it's Phoenix ball. It's on Cousins. Marcus Cousins coming off that bench. He had a big first quarter with 10. Kennard also coming in for the Clippers as well. And here's Booker. Devin Booker putting on a good performance. Booker mid-range jumper way off. Really way off. I mean, Booker's 25. That wasn't good. And here's Paul George at 28. George finds Cousins. Cousins kicks out. Here's Batum. Corner three-pointer. Lines it up on go. Cam Johnson gets a nice rebound. Up ahead to Booker. Booker looking for the screen. Gets it by Ayton. Booker being doubled. Booker throws it away. And Ayton tries to get it. He can't. Kennard comes up with it. That's the 11th turnover for the Suns here. As they're down by 6, 84-78. As Cousins finds Batum, who throws it down. Two-handed jam. And it's back up to 8. But Nicholas Batum, the Frenchman. French having a hard day today after using in the EuroLeague. But Batum gets that dunk. And here's Johnson who's on. That's going to be a foul on Cam Johnson. George draws the foul. Johnson hit him in the head. It's Cam Johnson's third personal foul already. Third personal for Cam Johnson. As he hits George on the head there. That's a foul. George does a nice job acting there. Might be an Oscar nomination a little bit. Yeah, that's an elbow. Hits him on the chin there. George kind of exaggerating it there, but the point gets across. It's not a flagrant. It's not a flagrant. As they're not going to review it, it's 86-78. Clippers. George, step back. George, a three-pointer. Oh! PG-13! Somebody stop this man. Nobody cannot. George at 31. Paul George, 3 out of 5 from 3. And you bet from 3-point line, 3 out of 5. Paul George. Chris Paul tries to answer. He can't. It's an 11-point lead for the Clippers. 89-78. Look at this. The biggest lead of the game for the Clippers was 15. It's 13. As here's Batum. Here is Cousins finds man off the drive. Can't get it to go. Cousins tips it in. DeMarcus Cousins. Approaching the end of the third quarter here. It's opened up a huge lead for the Clippers. 91-78 Clips. As that's a three-pointer, one go. And that will be the end of the third quarter. Clippers up by 13 going into the fourth. How about that? Who would have thought? Paul George really putting his team on the back right now with those step-back threes. Clippers are playing pretty good so far. That three-point line, just like I said, They exploded from the three-point line. And which is why they're in this position right now. Clippers now shooting 33% from three, 8 out of 24. Paul George leading the way with 31 points. He's 3 out of 5 from three. Jackson 2 out of 4. Morris 2 out of 5. And Paul George really put this team on his back all of a sudden. And don't forget DeMarcus Cousins. He has a big 12 points off that bench. 6 out of 11 from the field is DeMarcus Cousins. Huge difference playing that center role off the bench. I am supporting the Suns, Raf. Gotta support my man Chris Paul. I really want him to get that first finals appearance. He needs it. He deserves it. And it's not looking too good right now. I mean, in this going into the fourth quarter as they're down by 13, it's going to take some sort of comeback for the Suns to get back in right now. I mean, the Clippers with Paul George have really controlled this game. I mean, Paul George and Marcus Morris. George is 31, Morris is 22. It's a combined 53 points from those two. Booker only has 25. Booker is 25 for the Suns, and that's about it. I mean, Chris Paul is 16. And it really, for the Suns, what's been the problem is DeAndre Ayton. Ayton only has 10 points so far, hasn't made his presence felt whatsoever so far in this game. Hardly any alley-oop dunks. Nothing, no paint presence inside, really. And that's been the problem so far. They're not taking advantage of the small ball lineup. Ayton is not doing that, which is why the Suns are in this position. And then you got to remember the turnovers. The Suns have 12 turnovers. And that's not going to get it done. That's not going to cut it here. Going into the fourth quarter, it's going to take some kind of turnaround. And that starts with Chris Paul. CP3's got to perform his magic here in this fourth. He currently has 16 points and 7 assists. And Devin Booker also has to take over this game. The backcourt of the Suns needs to do a better job here in Game 5. And we are back, heading into this fourth quarter here. Clippers up by 13, 91-78. As the Suns have the ball here to start this fourth quarter. Chris Paul, Sarge, Johnson, Booker in the game for the Suns. Chris Paul finds Booker. Booker, nice pass. There's a finish. Torrey Craig. First points of the game, and you counted in one. Book it. For Torrey Craig, as he's going to head to the line to complete this three-point play. Torrey Craig in the game with Sarge for the Suns, as well as Cam Johnson and Chris Paul. Torrey Craig here, the former Nugget, makes it a 10-point game. It's 91-81. As here is Jackson, who's come back in, and there's a foul. It's going to be on Sarge as Paul George is resting to start this fourth quarter. He really put the team on his back there, made a statement. He's on flames from three-point line right now, and just across the court in general, Paul George. As here's Jackson going to inbound. We have Torrey Craig, Sarge, Johnson, Booker, and Paul in the game. As Cousins, DeMarcus, nice pass there to Terrence Mann. Man gets the roll, finishes. Look at Terrence Mann making an impact now here. Terrence Mann now has 4 points in the starting lineup because of Zubac's injury. Here's Sarge. Sarge lays it up in a nice pass from Chris Paul. Back to 10, 93-83. And here's Jackson being guarded by Craig. Jackson probing. Jackson tries to find Cousins, can't. Here's Batum in the corner. Good defense by Booker. Finds Cousins. Oh! Wow! DeMarcus Cousins counted and won. What an incredible layup there! As he was behind the backboard and he somehow lays it up and in. It's 14 for Boogie Cousins. What a showing for DeMarcus here in what an important game for the Clippers. It's game 5, do or die. Guess what? Who's going to step up? It's DeMarcus Cousins. Makes it the 3-point play, and it's a 13-point game again. 96-83, Clippers. Suns really have got to start making some shots now. There's still plenty of time. 10:45 left. Booker to the cup. Lays it in. No defense there by the Clippers. They got to get a quick run here to the Suns. They're going to have a chance to win it tonight. It would be an incredible win for the Clippers if they can do it today. As Cousins sets the screen for Jackson. Back out. Here's Cousins. Finds Jackson. Jackson being guarded by Sarge. On the drive, Jackson. Ball fakes. Here's Kennard. 3-point shot in the corner, won't go. Cam Johnson, he almost lost it. Nice heads-up play by Batum, but Booker has the basketball for the Suns. As here's Booker being guarded by Cousins. Booker tries a 3-point shot. Yep. Devin Booker, another 3-point shot there. And he is shooting really good from that 3-point line. 4 out of 6. Really, really good right now for Devin Booker from that 3-point line. He now has 30 points. Actually, 5 out of 7 from 3 is Booker. As that's a 2 by Reggie Jackson. That won't go. Cam Johnson ends up with it. 96-88. Clippers, we need a run here for the Suns. As here's Booker being doubled. Booker, top mid-range. Fall away! Wow! Devin Booker! Yes, sir! And it's 7. 96-89. Clippers. The Suns making another run here. 9 minutes to go. The Suns have got a couple of runs in them to go here in this fourth quarter. And they're not out of it by any stretch of the imagination. 9 minutes to go here, only down by 7. And Booker having himself a game. What a game for Devin Booker. 33 points in 35 minutes. 5 out of 7 from 3. Chris Paul also has 16 points and 8 assists. And it's 96-89 Clippers with 9 minutes to go. I think the Clippers have done extremely well. I mean, they've kept their momentum throughout this game. Even when the Suns briefly took the lead, they held their composure, started shooting lights out. Paul George really drove them home in that third. And here they are, the Suns making another run because that's how good they are. And it's down to 7 again. Let's see if the Clippers can respond here coming out of the timeout. If they can, we'll be in store for some kind of finish here in this game 5. Elimination for the Clippers here. And we are back here to start. 9 minutes to go here in this fourth quarter. Clippers up by 7. 96-89. Devin Booker made this a 7-point game here. The crowd is on their feet here. In Phoenix, packed house there. As Clippers have the ball here, Paul George being guarded by Booker. Now drives, switches to Craig. Shot clock is down to 2. Paul George, a tough three-pointer, short. There's Sarge with the rebound. Here's another chance for the Suns to come back in. Here's Chris Paul. Chris Paul, Booker, Cam Johnson, Sarge, and Craig in the game. Chris Paul! He nails that mid-range jumper. And it's a 5-point game, 96-91. As here's Jackson throws it, and there's a foul on Cam Johnson. That's fourth. All of a sudden, it's now 5. Look at Chris Paul here in the mid-range, his go-to shot. Chris Paul. That's his go-to. And he can do that anytime he wants. And he's been doing that for his whole entire career. 5-point game here. He's George on the drive. George lays it in! Oh, they could have called a foul there, but they didn't. And here is Chris Paul immediately being fouled by Jackson. How about that? Goes at Chris Paul there. Suns really trying to end it here as PG was trying to go for the dunk. Couldn't finish it properly, but nevertheless gets the points. Paul George really putting on an incredible performance here for the Clippers. As here's Torrey Craig. Finds Cam Johnson, who has 4 fouls. Johnson can't lay it up. He was short. You can't miss those kind of layups there. 98-91 Clips. On top by 7. 8 minutes to go here in this fourth. And here's Jackson. Finds Morris. Guarded by Sarge. Here's Morris. Morris tough mid-range jumper. Won't go. Doesn't get the roll. It's 98-91 Clippers. And here are the Suns with the ball. Here's Chris Paul. Gives it inside to Sarge. Sarge being quadruple teamed, and he's fouled. Daniel Sarge. As Sarge was being fouled there, take a look, it's on Morris. Sarge being quadruple team inside. Under 8 to go here in this fourth quarter. Suns down by 7. Chris Paul 3-pointer short. Look at Torrey Craig, can't get it. Had control, he lost it. And here come the Clippers with Paul George. He turns it over. That's a loose turnover there. He's Booker. 2-on-2. Booker fights. Can't get it to go. Booker tries to lay it up. He couldn't. As here's Jackson with the ball. Jackson with some handles here. 7 to go. As here's Paul George. George, step back. Loose it. He lost it. Here's Cam Johnson. And Morris Johnson. He lays it in. And the foul. Cam Johnson has a chance to make it a 4-point game here. It's 98-93 now. Look at Cam Johnson. The Suns are playing some defense, forcing those turnovers, and Cam Johnson lays it up and in, plus the foul. This is how you score, Phoenix, by playing that defense, forcing them turnovers. And Cam Johnson does the rest for you off that bench. Cam Johnson, he's been so impressive tonight. 13 points. Has a chance for 14 here. The first-round pick from North Carolina, the 25-year-old 6'8", 210. Shooting 88% from the free throw line in this playoffs. 8 points per game. He had 5 in game 3. He had 12 in game 2 and 11 in game 1. He had 12 in game 1, 11 in game 2. As take a look at Paul George after the free throw is made, he shoves Torrey Craig. And that's going to be a foul on Paul George. It's going to be Suns' possession here. It's a 4-point game. The Suns are already in the bonus with 7 to go, which is kind of ridiculous. 98-94. Clippers. 7 to go here. Timeout on the floor. Suns have the ball. The Suns have another run in them, and it's a 4-point game now. It's going to be a great finish, guys. Only a 4-point game here. The Suns are only down by 4, and they have the basketball. It's going to be a tight finish here in Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. And we are back here after the timeout. Everybody's up here in Phoenix for Game 5. 7 minutes to go here in this fourth quarter. The Suns are down by 4 and have the ball. Big moment here. The Suns trying to get to their first finals after 28 years. As you go back to George throwing Torrey Craig to the ground after that free throw. They probably reviewed it during the timeout, I would think. As Paul George was saying, he held his jersey. But either way, Torrey Craig's going to head to the line for 2 more free throws. He can't get that one. And that was that. There was only 1 free throw, actually. Is it's still 98-94 Clippers. Under 7 to go here. As here's Paul George. George draws a foul on Craig. Nice job there from Paul George drawing that foul. As it's not a shooting foul, inbound here. As Morris inbounds it to Jackson, Paul George. Back out to Batum. Here's Jackson, 3-pointer on its way and rattles in. Reggie Jackson. What a clutch shot there. It rattles in home from downtown. It's 101-94 Clips. As here's Chris Paul. Finds Booker. Both teams are in the bonus for this final 6 minutes. As here's Booker on the drive being guarded by Morris. Booker, tough runner off glass. Can't get it. And Aiden comes up with it inside. Aiden can't get that to go. So many chances there for the Suns, unable to cash in on any of them. And here's George on the drive. George off glass is money. Paul George. And he brings it back up. The lead is now 9 again, 103-94. Look at this run by the Clippers. Every time the Suns have a run in them, the Clippers answer right back. It's now 35 for Paul George. It's unbelievable right now. 35 and 36 minutes for PG-13. As here's Booker on the drive. Finds Torrey Craig. Craig on the drive. Craig lays it up and in. Almost another foul there. What a tough shot. And 7-point game, 103-96. Approaching 5 minutes to go. As here's Beverly, Jackson, George, Morris, and Batum in the game for the Clippers. As here's Jackson, same spot on a three-pointer, same result. Reggie Jackson, cash money from the same spot again. And it's a 10-point lead for the Clippers, 106-96. Jackson now has 21 points, 4 out of 6 from 3 as Johnson throws up a lob to Aiden. He can't get it. Clippers in possession. Here's Jackson on the drive. Jackson throws it down. Tomahawk. Look out. Hard hat alert. Reggie Jackson. And it's a 12-point lead. 108-96. Clippers on top. Timeout Phoenix. What an impressive run for the Clippers coming out of timeout. Jackson with a one-handed throwdown.